Kia ora, dear Goit, and welcome. This is the weekly reading we're doing today with the Divine Circus Oracle by Alana Fairchild. So each of these oracle cards has a little shell on top of them, which I picked up from Taputeranga or Island Bay, the beach along there. So the first card here has got a cockle shell, New Zealand cockle shell, pretty standard. We see a lot of those in New Zealand. Another really common shell is the limpet, and I don't know how old this limpet is. They have slightly different names depending on their age, but that's the limpet. The third card has the paua. This is one of our more famous shells, the paua. This one's a little bit dull and quite a small paua. You definitely wouldn't eat a paua this size, but this is just one that washed up. Then we've got a hermit crab shell. Hermit crabs they live in a bunch of different kinds of shells in New Zealand, but this is just one of them. And then on the fifth card we have, honestly, one of my favourite stones. One of my favourite shells, sorry. This is the cat's eye. I do a lot of scrying with cat's eyes. I have a whole bowl of them there. So pause the video if you want and choose a card, whichever shell is sort of calling out to you. Pile 1 with the hermit shell. Sorry, no it's not. It's pile 1 with the cockle shell. Pile 2 with the limpet. Pile 3 with the paua. Pile 4 with the hermit crab shell, or pile 5 with the cat's eye. And I'll see you soon. Okay, for those of you who chose the first card, number 1 with the cockle shell, let's have a look at your card. So you got Lady Luck. Let's have a look at that from the little book here. So a change of fortune is in store for you. A twist of fate that is meant to be. You're a winner and you're about to hit the jackpot. Okay, well that's a good sign for your week. Let's roll your rune die and just see how you're feeling at the moment. Okay, so it seems like you're very much stuck down here in sort of your spiritual area. Your creativity is really stuck. Kind of your lust for life is quite stuck, and you're trying to protect it. It's like so this is Alhaz, which is in the physical. The top here, we call this the physical position. So you're putting a lot of energy into it at the moment, but it's not really going anywhere because you can't move there at the moment. Mentally and emotionally. So mentally, you've got Ken. Ken is it's good. It's the like illumination rune, so it's like your stuff. You're quite happy there, but in your emotional point here, you've got Legu on its side pointing towards the mental, which indicates to me that you're a little bit too. I think you might need to chill out a little bit. I think you're being really, really critical of yourself. You're putting so much energy into what you can't do and not focusing on what you can do, and kind of just going with the flow a little bit. You're actually doing quite well here. You're actually kind of on track. Nothing here is particularly upsetting. Yeah, you're definitely being quite hard on yourself. So let me just pick some destiny cards and see if I can get kind of a better idea of. Actually, no, what I'll do is I'll use the tarot cards. So I've got, I use Aleister Crowley's Thoth tarot. So I'm going to just ask a little bit about Might actually ask about your emotional state, I think. Yeah, you're being way too rigid with your emotions. You're trying to box them in. So Queen of Swords is, you've got Queen, which is your water, and Swords, which in this pack, in the Thoth Tarot, is air, and your mental, and you're being, this just reinforces what I was saying earlier, where you're being way too hard on yourself. Emotionally, you need to give yourself some space to breathe. You need to let yourself have your feelings, whatever they might be. I'll pull a Destiny card now for that one. Compassion. There you go. Be compassionate towards yourself. Actually, if any of you are into crystals, rhodonite is a really good crystal for self-compassion. If you've got one at home, maybe slip it into your pocket, or if you wear a bra, you can put it in your bra. Keep it in there with you all day. Okay. So, look, I mean, that's how you're feeling. That's sort of your overall feeling. But you've got this Lady Luck card here, and it looks like things are going to change. So we want to know what exactly is going to change, Lady Luck. Can you tell us? What should we expect this week? Victory. The Magus, or the Magician. Oh, that one wants to come out. Strife. Okay. Okay, so these two here are both, they're one right after the other. Okay, this is interesting because you've got Victory, 6 of Wands, and Strife, the 5 of Wands, and Wands is sort of your creative and your more spiritual cards. They show like a lot of hard work and a lot of passion, but as you know, you're kind of stuck here in Isa at the moment when it comes to your spiritual. So these are the cards, the Wands are the cards that I would connect to the spiritual more than anything. So it would make sense that you're gonna be struggling a little bit. It feels like you're gonna have a win, but not really understand how to enjoy that win. But you've got the Magus here, which indicates to me that you can actually move forward with that. You just need to give yourself some space to breathe. I'm going to ask, can you give us some advice for this week, please, going into the week? Oh, saw an upside down card in there. The Devil. Always a fun card. Oh, we got 2. Okay, so the Devil, to me, it's not the awful card that it says it is. But I often get the Devil when I'm asking too many questions and the card just wants me to live life a little bit. It's like, hey, just do it. But in this case, I think with the Devil, you might actually need to get your stuff in order a little bit. So maybe come up with get your what do you call it? Get your accounts in order, that saying. So the Devil is also a Saturn card, and Saturn is the teacher. Saturn likes structure and likes rules, and you've got the 9 of Discs here, which is very much another sort of very structured card. Discs relate to the physical. They're about material things, your home, your money, your body. So I think what it's saying is focus on those, and this will come right on its own. This sort of thing will come right. So instead of focusing all of your physical energy on protecting your spirituality and your creativity, how about just step back and go sit in the grass. Go sit in the grass, go and, take a long walk, maybe write in your journal, something like that, something that's going to ground you, because, yeah, you're just a little bit out of whack, to be honest, but it's nothing too serious for you. Your cards all look pretty good. I wouldn't be too worried. Just be kind to yourself. Focus on your emotions and on your physical world, and yeah, I would say that's pretty much it for you. So I hope that was helpful. It's really just about self-love and grounding this week for you, but later in the week I'll be doing the moon read, where we'll be looking at what's happening with the moon, and you can come back and watch that one, or there's also going to be another random one, which by random I mean it'll kind of be like a love or a work one, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, for those of you who chose card number 2 with the limpet shell, let's have a look at what you got. Rah, rah, rah. Okay, rah, rah, rah. So, I actually have never had this card before. I've had this pack for a very long time. So, rah, rah, rah says, have you had enough of the dark side of life? Fear, doubt, uncertainty, anxiety, frustration, and believing that you cannot manifest your dreams are signs that you've been in the darkness too long. It's your time to step out of the darkness and into the light. That's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to check your runes, so see how you're feeling. Okay, so in physical we've got which is looking pretty good. You've got strength there. In the mental we've got Iwa, which is progress, but it's upside down. You've got Gofu, or however you say that, which is gift and spiritual. And then in your emotional you have Pyoth, which is choice, and it is back to front. So, and these two are off a little bit, but physically and spiritually you're looking really good. So I think what's letting you down, if you're struggling at the moment, are your emotions, is that there's a choice that you need to make that you don't know the answer to, and you're not sure which way you should go. And yeah, mentally you are sort of stuck. You can't make any progress, probably because you can't make this emotional choice that's coming up at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just ask the cards if they can give me a little bit more information on this choice of yours that you have to make. Because I imagine that this has got a lot to do with the Rah 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 card, if you can make this choice. Oh, okay, we got a card. We got the Knight of Cups. And we've got the Two of Swords. I feel a little bit like it's telling me what I kind of already knew, which is that so the Two of Swords kind of says basically this, that you're sort of stuck, you can't move any further, which is pretty much what's already happening. But the Knight of Cups would indicate to me that you're striving towards something. You want to start putting your energy in towards something, but perhaps you don't know if it's going to come to fruition. Something like maybe you're considering leaving your job and starting a new one, turning a hobby into a business, moving cities for a new job, something like that. And you're sort of like, you want to, but you can't rationalize it in your head because there's so many things that are saying, there's so many reasons why you think you shouldn't do it, or what if it doesn't work out. But look, you've been given a gift there in the spiritual, and you're in a really good position to be doing it. This would indicate that, like, your home life, your money, your body, these things are actually in pretty good condition at the moment for you to be taking this kind of risk. Let me just ask for a destiny card and see if that's kind of along the same lines. Acceptance, okay. So, I guess, acceptance of what exactly? Acceptance of what it is that you want, and that it's okay to want what you want, and that this is who you are, and perhaps it's not who you thought you'd be. Perhaps you thought you would be content with a life of doing other things, you know, maybe you were working in an office and you're getting a good salary, but you know what, it's not making you happy. So accepting exactly who you are, so that you can move on and do what you need to do. Alright, I'm going to ask the cards for, we got given a card, 4 of Swords. Okay, what I wanted to ask the cards for was, where is your strength? 4 of Swords would indicate to me that your strength is in your ability to be able to balance out, it's kind of like your ability to be able to plan, your ability to consider all the different options. So say if you were wanting to start a new business, or maybe you're going to go to study or something like that, you've got what you need to be able to go, okay, so this is how much it's going to cost me, this is what I'm going to need to live, let's think about how much time I have in a day, what about my relationships, what about my my pet or my children or my family, like how am I going to fit all of this in? And you've got a really good mind in that regard, which is something that not a lot of people have. Often this card is quite an uncomfortable one, or I find it can be uncomfortable. The 4s, although they are stable, sometimes when you're looking at stuff like the mind, it's very hard to get it very stable. It can feel quite sort of like claustrophobic and quite constricted, but you've actually got the ability to be able to do that and to stick to it. So to write a routine and stick to it within your own means. You might be thinking, I can't do that, but it could be that, you know, you're able to do it in your own way, in a way that works for you, and in a way that will help you succeed. So that's great. I might just ask for something else. Oh yeah, the Hierophant. You're a bit of a leader, I would say. The Hierophant. I personally love this card. It's a Taurus card. I'm a Taurus. Got a lot in Taurus, actually. I've got a whole Taurus stellium. But anyway, so the Hierophant is, again, I think these cards are kind of similar, is that you have the ability to be able to lead and to be able to create something really solid. These are like very solid cards, very weighty cards. They're really good for any new endeavours that you might want to do. Oh, gosh, you're really just throwing out these earthy kind of. So the Hermit is another earthy card. It's the Virgo. It's about going inwards. It's about like conception, I should say. You see, you've got the little, it's like a sperm in the egg. So this is about kind of going within yourself, creating ideas, and then growing them. So you have the ability to do that, which is great. So I think the universe is trying to say, hey, look, you can do this. You've got what it takes. So don't worry about that. Next, I just want to ask the universe, what steps should we take this week? What steps should pile 2 take this week to be able to get themselves on track here. Crikey, sorry, crikey, as a very Aussie saying. All right, honestly, I feel like it just wants you to run full speed at this thing. The universe, as we saw with the Ra 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 card, things are, the universe is basically things are in your favor right now. It's a really good time to be doing this thing that you want to do. The star would indicate to me that you might just be careful about balancing things. The way I see the star is she's kind of got the water, and she's tipping the water onto the earth and then back into the water. So those two things, your emotional and your physical, but also the star is the Aquarius card, so also like the mental. Just be aware of where all your energy is going and try to balance yourself. So take a risk, balance yourself. And Princess of Swords, I love this woman. She can be really hard at times. Princess of Swords, she goes into all these situations with the lust and the nerve of I think of a young girl who just doesn't know fear. And she goes in there and she's very secure in herself, and then she comes out with all these swords, and she's just like, yeah, like no one can beat me. I got this. So the only downside with Princess of Swords, when I sometimes see it come out as in like relationship spreads, where maybe you need to chill a little bit if you want this relationship to work. But I think what the messages that you're getting here is actually go out there, do it. You've got it all. You know, it's all here in your favor. Stop worrying so much about these things. Make the choice. And I believe they're saying the choice is yes for you. Yes, you can do it. Make that choice, and then this is going to flip around and we can start moving again. We can start progressing, and then we can do all of this stuff. So that new venture, or whatever it was that you're into at the moment, it's a yes from the universe. And start to make those things happen. So yeah. Okay, pile 3. For those of you who chose the paua shell, your Divine Circus Oracle card is Joker is Wild. Okay, cool. This card is a bit of an unexpected one. What I mean by that is something unexpected is going to be happening this week, but it will be for the better for you, for the better. So that's good. It's just going to be a little bit crazy. Expect the unexpected. All right. So let's see how you're feeling, or how you're sitting in body, spirit, mind. Okay, what have we got? Alright, so physically you've got Seagull sitting on its side there. Seagull is usually good fortune, but it's kind of on its side, so I wonder if it's being diverted somewhere else. Let's see what else you've got. So you've got a Fjord, which is your riches, which is in the mental position, or your mental zone. But that is pointed downwards towards I actually think that's just pointed downwards. I think that that's just the opposite. So I think that you're really struggling mentally at the moment, and possibly losing your mind isn't really the phrase, but losing your patience with your mind right now. And then you've got Iwa down the bottom, which is progress, but it's upside down, so it's really stuck, which would make sense if your mental is sort of quite stuck at the moment. It would make sense that spiritually you're going to be a little bit stuck as well. And then you've got Nide. So Nide is is basically about getting what you need and not necessarily getting what you want, which, you know, might be to do with the Joker is wild, because we're not exactly sure what's going to happen there, but it's going to be for the better. So just going by this, I would say it looks like you're putting way too much pressure on your head right now, on your mental, your intellectual, and really a lot of pressure. Actually, this is very similar to the first reading, I feel, that I did with the cockle shell. But let me just ask, I want to see exactly what's going on in that head of yours. Oh. Sorry. I shouldn't laugh, but also I always take these cards with, like, you know, a bit of humor, because the Joker is wild is very much one of those cards where it's like the universe isn't laughing at you, they're laughing with you. So the Tower, okay, so that's not great. You must be feeling pretty rotten. Wouldn't surprise me if you're having a lot of headaches at the moment. Back pain, neck pain, that sort of thing. Oh, okay. Huh. It's really interesting. So, I think, considering you've got the Tower there in the first placement, I really feel like shaking you right now and being like, just don't think for 5 minutes. Don't think, go outside, put your feet in the sand or the dirt or whatever, and just put this down, whatever this is, put it down. But you may be struggling to do that, and I know that it's not everybody can just walk away from it for a few seconds. So I think what you need to start doing is write a list of all the good things that are going on at the moment and all the things that you're grateful for. I know this can seem a little bit, toxic positivity, but right now, because of the way your head is and it's just all over the place, I think this would actually be really helpful, just to focus on something that makes you happy, something good, because it feels like you think it's all over. You think all your happiness is over. So you really need to do that for yourself. Let's see what the Destiny cards say. Oh, it's that one. Prudence. Oh, that's interesting. I'll just pick another one because that isn't what I was expecting. Okay, this isn't what I was expecting at all. It's almost as if you need to be careful of something. I wonder if you are under a lot of pressure right now, and if you're in a situation where you simply can't just take a break from it. So maybe you've got a deadline coming up, or you need to make a decision on something that's really important, and it's got a time constraint on it, and so you simply can't do the be kind to yourself thing. You really just need to push through it. Be careful how you approach it. Might ask about this. This might give me an idea of what's going on. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, okay. This to me talks about possibly, it could be love life, or it could just be your, like a friendship, but it's certainly something very emotional to you. There seems to be a little bit of quarrel happening there. You need to take a step back from this. And this isn't this die with being nigh being. It's not what you want, but it's what you need. Would indicate to me that you're going to have to walk away from something. something that you don't want to. Yeah. I might actually scribe for you, because this is a little bit heavy. Yeah, there's a situation that you're in that you need to get out of. It's almost like, the way I see this is almost like reaching up, completely getting out of, it's almost like stepping into a new reality. So, okay, with all that in mind, this is the heaviest reading I've done today. I feel bad for laughing at your tower now. I apologise. The universe can be a little bit of an egg sometimes. Okay, let me just ask for a bit of advice for you. I'm just going to move these up so that we've got a bit more room. Okay. Because no matter what's going on, there's always something we can do. We always have a choice. We might, be in a bit of pain, but we've always got options. So, sorry, it's moving it. Yeah, alright. Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups reminds you to be with your emotions right now and how you're feeling. Accept how you're feeling, I think, is a big one for you. It's okay to not feel great. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. So persevere, be flexible. Persevere when it comes to how you're feeling. Just remember that it's temporary. Sorry, that's quite loud. It's temporary. There's going to be a new start, so look towards that. And I would say, like how he's got all his runes in one satchel, in one bag. Really focus your energy on that if you want something to kind of help move you out of the state that you're in at the moment. And understand, know that you're burning the wick at both ends at the moment, and you will have to be flexible. Things are going to be happening that you don't want to happen, but this is all part of a much bigger plan, as seen by the Joker as Wild. So while it does feel pretty miserable right now, this is meant to happen. You've got some big cards here. You've got the Tower and the Fool. So once it all comes crashing down, you're going to be starting again. So take a deep breath and understand that this is a cycle. Yeah, much love to you this week. I think is a bit of a grim read, but you will be okay. Okay, this is for those of you who chose pile 4 with the Hermit Crab shell. And let's have a look at your Oracle card. Okay, so you got Rare Raw Real, which is number 42. And this card is generally to do with shadow work. So it's to do with, like, shadow work is going inside and figuring out what's upsetting you, and maybe the parts of yourself that you don't particularly like. This card sort of talks about how they can be a gift, but it could also mean that this is something you need to deal with that may not be a gift. It may just be something that you need to work through at the moment. So let's ask the universe where this is. that has been coming up all day. It's come up in a couple other readings. I think that has as well. Alright, let's see. So, physically you are, you could either be losing money, there could be your body's not feeling the best, or maybe you have to change homes or something, but physically you're losing something. Emotionally, you've got win, but it's upside down. Win is generally happiness, so I don't think mentally you're feeling great at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and say you're not feeling too great. In your spiritual, you have Iwa, which is about progress, but it's pointed in this direction, and I do get the impression from this reading that it's pointing towards your mental. So it feels like there's a blockage here that is making it very difficult for you to go anywhere spiritually. And then in your emotional point, you have one of my favorite. You have Alhaz, which is protection. It's kind of sitting on its side, and I feel like I think what you're trying to do is actually shut your emotions away right now to try and protect everything else that's going on, but honestly it's not working, and that would fit in perfectly with this card. We need to uncover what's going on here so that you can move through it. So we're going to start here, the most obvious place, and see if the universe can give us any indication of what it is you need to be working through right now. Okay, Prince of Cups and adjustment. So Prince of Cups is sort of this, the way I think of Prince of Cups is someone who might be a little bit naive with their emotions, but they're out there sort of giving it a go, opening themselves up to love, but, you know, perhaps doesn't have a lot of experience. And then you've got adjustment, which in your typical pack, like your Rider Waite, that would be judgment. You've got the scales there, and it's a lot of that is about balance and finding figuring out what works for you and where you want to be. So I think this might be about love. Let's see. No, it's not. Well, if it is, it's you're struggling to know your place in the world. That's what this is. This is you trying to figure out who the heck you are. Sorry, I didn't mean to say, I don't know if that's a swear word or not, but anyway. So yeah, very much this. Okay, so you're at a loss of who you are. You're really unsure right now what path you want to go down, literally down to the idea of like, am I a numbers person? Do I work better with my hands? Am I fun to be around? Am I the life of the party? Like, you're really quite confused. Let me just ask a little bit about this card. I want to ask why you're so unhappy. I mean, it would make sense that the emotional stuff would. 3 of Swords. Huh. 7 of Discs. And so this actually might be specifically a reading for people who, if you're struggling with your gender identity, to be honest with you, this might be the right reading for you. The reason I say that is because the 3 of Swords I find often comes up when it comes to like the way this card is. It's almost quite like phallic, and then you've almost got your sort of ovaries and your and your vagina in a way. And often when I see this come up, it's to do with sex or something like sex. So it could be actually, for those of you who might be questioning your gender or something like that, this could be what it's saying to you. 7 of discs is very much, you're not okay in your own skin. I just want to say too, if you're not someone who has gender dysphoria, this will still relate to you, just not in that way. So you're not comfortable in your own skin. The way you were supposed to be, or the way that society wants you to be, or your family wants you to be, isn't working out for you, and you feel very much like a failure. It's like you've been given this path to walk down that you're just not comfortable with at all. The plus side is you've actually got a lot going for you, and there is a place for you. You're just completely on the wrong path, and you're going to have to really get into the nitty-gritty of it, in order to find out where you are supposed to be and what makes you happy. So I'm going to ask for some advice this week. Can you give us some advice on what you can do to improve? What are the first steps you can take? Fortune. That's a good card. The Chariot. Oh, I was going to say, these cards remind me a lot of each other, the Fortune and the Chariot. And you've got the 10 of Swords. Okay, so what this is kind of telling me is, firstly, I'm going to start with this one. Stop thinking about it so much. You need to stop thinking about it and start feeling it. And it's like you've protected your feelings. You're hiding your feelings in order to protect everything else, but you're doing yourself a detriment. You need to feel it. So whatever this is that you're struggling with at the moment, sit down and think about it and really feel it, because that is the only way you're going to be able to get through it. You've got Fortune in the Chariot here, which means basically the universe is saying to you, this is a really good time for you to start this process. Both of these cards have that circle, which sort of reminds me of, like the wheel of the year, and you can move forward, and you can use Fortune to start moving. So use this time. Now's a good time to kind of come up with, when I say a plan, I mean that very loosely. So it may be something like, this is the thing I'm struggling with. Maybe I'm personally struggling with my job, and I currently work as a chef, and I feel like I shouldn't be a chef anymore. My plan is going to be, I'm going to go and speak to someone who, maybe a careers advisor or something. So that's what you want to start doing, is now is the time to start doing that stuff. I'm going to pull one Destiny card for you, just because I feel like all the other readings got Destiny card and you didn't, and there might be something really worthwhile in here for you. Communication. I think that communication right now is actually really important for you in yourself. You need to be communicating better with you, because again, because you weren't communicating your emotions, everything else got really, really stuck. So that's your homework for this week, is face your problem and then start moving towards it. And I know that that's easier said than done, but it is in your best interest. Okay, hello and welcome to those of you who chose card number 5 with the cat's eye. Now I actually just did this reading, but the camera wasn't working and it cut out after about a minute. So I actually have all the cards and everything already done. So I'm going to bring them out. I already know the message you've got, but I want to try and elaborate on it a bit, so I will, just so that it's not stale for you. So your card is Death Shall Not Take Him. And this card, according to the Divine Circus Oracle book, which I've read a million times, is sort of about resurrection and about not giving up until you've crossed the finish line. So it's about that, yeah, about that kind of final push. So if there's a situation right now you're dealing with that has just been wearing you out and you're dragging your heels, like, when is this ever going to end? The answer is it's actually going to work in your favor. So you may be feeling like you're about to fail at something, but that is in fact not the case. So I pulled I did the die for this one. So I'll bring them out because I've already done them, but I'll explain to you a little bit about what this means. Now you've got Night at the top there, which is in your physical zone, and Night is about getting what you need, not necessarily what you want, and that is focused down here at Legu, which is in your spiritual. So it would appear that your physical, and physical's like work, money, your body, the energy from there, you're really focused on the spiritual right now. You're really like, it's when I say spiritual too, this could just mean your passions, like you're tired, everything's a bit stale, everything's a bit boring. That can all be considered spiritual if you're not a particularly religious or spiritual person yourself. It's like your inner fire, your inner flame. So then we've got which is on its side, and this position is mental. So usually isn't like that. It's usually basically it's on its side here. It's usually like that. So it's on its side. Means strength, but it's pointed towards your emotional right now. This is your emotional zone. So your strength, your mental capacity, your mental stamina is really going into the emotional right now. So then we move down to the spiritual. Like I said before, you've got Legu, which is usually it's a great rune. It's about God. It's about light. It's about like figuring out who you are and all that. And so it's in a perfect place, but it's on its side a bit, so it's not really doing anything, or it feels like it's constrained somehow. It's not quite right. And again, it's pointed towards the emotional, same as and in the emotional you've got transformation, and transformation is obviously, well, it's transformation, so you're going through a transformation, things are about to change, so it makes a lot of sense that you've got both your mental and your spiritual both pointed into that area, like we're waiting for something's got to shift, something's got to tick over, as this card sort of says, it's the final hurdle. So what I did next was I pulled some cards for your emotional here, just to find out what's going on. And what's interesting about this is you've got two 10s here, and 10s are kind of, they're the end of the suit, so they signify an ending. They signify it being, when you get the 10 of swords, we always say it's as bad as it's going to get. So you've got oppression near the 10 of wands. By the way, wands are your spirit. They're like a spirit card. They're fire. They sit in this is the position I would call the wands position, your spirit. So it makes sense. You feel like you're being oppressed there. And you've got your cups as well. You've gotten as good as you can get in that area, and so now it's time to transform. This card is a bit of an odd one to have here. Initially, I was a bit confused, but it actually makes sense because usually I would see this card over here. It is very much a mental card. The 6 of Swords talks to me about study or work, but of course all your mental energy at the moment is being pushed into the emotional, so it does make a lot of sense as to why it's here. So yeah, I would say your emotional is very much being fueled right now. It feels like you're very tired. It feels like almost like you're running a race and you've got the last, kilometer to go. And you're like, this is just the pits. I've had enough. But don't worry, because we are going to move through this. Okay. So the next card I pulled here, I wanted to see what was going on with your spiritual, so I pulled this one here, the Emperor. This is the perfect card to have here. Basically, well, I think it's perfect because it's very fiery and very like sure of yourself. But basically, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't a concern. I think once this ticks over, this whole situation, you'll start to feel a lot better spiritually. And when I say the situation, I'm thinking it's got something to do with work or study or another, I'm trying to think what else it could be. Something like that. Like it's a practical kind of problem. It's an issue that is very much intellectual. So it could be that you've been working on a project for the last 6 months that you're absolutely sick to death of and you can't find a solution, and you've got another week or two to get it in, and you think it isn't going to happen, I'm not going to be able to get it in. Or same with the assignment, I'm not going to be able to finish it, I don't know what I'm doing. But you're going to do it. You're going to figure it out in the last minute, so to speak, and you're going to get it in, and then it's going to be done with, and then you won't have to worry about it. And once that happens, this is actually going to come right. So I feel like this has kind of been necessary at the for the last few weeks. It's not something to worry about necessarily, but it has been quite frustrating. So then I pulled a few cards here to get an idea of, I asked the universe, what should you do once, what should you do this week, basically, what's your message? And your message is, the first card is the Lovers, Gemini. This is sort of about marrying, the way I put it is marrying the project and just sort of tying off all loose ends. So coming together, doing the ceremony, handing that assignment in, handing that project in, whatever it is, and then putting it away and moving on to something else. So that's what you want to do. You've got completion here, very much like, that's the theme of this. The theme is that you're about to move on to something else. This card I love because this gives a really quite a loud message, which is, we've got the Four of Wands in a circle called completion, and see how they're perfectly lined up. Wands don't like to be lined up. Okay, wands are fire, wands are spirit. They don't want to be lined up like that. It's claustrophobic and it's suffocating for them. They don't want to be there. So finish it, put it away, get rid of it, pat yourself on the back, you've done a great job. And then we're going to move into Ace of Cups. This is something brand new, number one. So have a think about what you want to do now. The Cups is a water card, it's emotional, so it makes sense that you're going to have an emotional transformation here. This is going to be cleared. This is all going to be cleared. This is going to be here instead. So have a think about what you want to do. This could be anything, to be honest with you. In fact, I tell you what, I might quickly just pull a rune to see what it's going to be, because I didn't do that last time. Oh, okay. Yep. Isa. Okay, so Isa's about being stuck, which kind of sucks. Which kind of sucks, I say. But this just indicates to me that the next thing you're going to be going on to is going to be emotional. Emotional work. It could be relationship, it could be friendship, it could be just feeling a bit better about yourself in general, self-love, and it's going to be around for a while, which is what that would indicate to me. So yeah, maybe start planning what you would like to do there, in terms of if there's any areas of your life you'd like to work on. And then I also pulled these, spontaneity and detail, and I thought they were kind of weird cards to come out together, but actually they're great. Like, that, it's great to have both. It's great to have a balance. I would say with spontaneity, go out for a meal or something after you've handed this project in, or after you've finished this, whatever the heck this is. Go out and have some fun, and then come back, because we've got a new section for you to move on to in the future. And if you tune in next week, you'll probably find out what that is. So thank you very much for watching this reading. I hope you got something out of it, and hope you have an idea of where you're going this week.